Hello friendos and bendos, it's me Z, and Transformers and I have a strange relationship. It should have been right up my alley as a kid. Giant robots that fight and turn into cars, that was a recipe to have me hyperfixating for the rest of my life. But I just never got into it. And it's not like I didn't have opportunities to. I had plenty. I grew up at the height of the popularity of the Michael Bay movies, and Cartoon Network and The Hub. No, not that Hub, you goddamn freak. The Hub TV channel. The one that no one remembers. Jeez. Anyway, both of them always had Transformers shows on the air, and I would occasionally catch episodes of Prime, or Animated, or Rescue Bots, or Robots in Disguise, but none of this stuff captured me. I think the closest I got to being a Transformers fan was constantly watching LEGO Transformers videos on YouTube, and even that was more so because it was LEGO, and I was quite frankly obsessed with LEGO, and still kinda am. So, that was really it. I knew the basics of the franchise from the little content I saw and through general cultural osmosis, but I just wasn't interested in going any further. I was too busy memorizing the names and typings of all the newly announced Generation 7 Pokemon. I didn't have time to learn what the hell was the difference between a Starscream and a Shockwave, and that was just how it went. Until late last year. You see, I kept getting recommendations on the internet to read a comic, the newly released and ongoing Transformers series by writer and artist Daniel Warren Johnson, which was also part of a new Hasbro-based comic universe called the Energon Universe, and both of these facts had me pretty intrigued. I knew DWJ from Wonder Woman Dead Earth, a fantastic comic that I absolutely loved and think deserves recognition, so I knew this Transformers book had a high chance of being high quality, and the fact that this was a new universe with no pre-established continuity meant that, hopefully, I as a Transformers Neanderthal wouldn't get too confused. So, I read the first volume, and I was hooked.
Hey, this isn't water. This is gas.
To summarize the premise, the book sees a ship of Transformers crash land on Earth millions of years ago, and they lie dormant until modern day, when they're stumbled upon by two kids named Carly and Spike. When the Transformers wake up, Carly and Spike end up in the middle of a war between the Autobots and the Decepticons, choosing to join the side of the Autobots since, let's face it, the name Decepticon has just about the worst optics ever. Oh, also the Decepticons are trying to drain Earth of its natural resources and are brutally killing people, but to me, it was a name thing. They gotta change that. Anyway, the book has so much good stuff going on for it. I've read both released volumes so far, and every issue has me more and more impressed. The part that sold me on this book was, kind of poetically, also the scene that sold Optimus on protecting planet Earth. He stumbles upon this beautiful field, the animals at peace, the sun shining on his face, and all at once he understands that the immaculate beauty of this place is something worth fighting for. And the art's not just good for showcasing beauty, it has this roughness and raw energy that makes fight scenes amazing, both the stuff done by DWJ and later artist George Corona in conjunction with the talented colors of Mike Spicer, giving this immense impact to every punch and kick and crash. There's this scene where Optimus gets his arm damaged and he just rips it off and starts beating Starscream to within an inch of his life with it, and it's just so fucking hardcore and I love it. No page, no panel feels wasted. In fact, I feel grateful to experience each one. If it continues at this level of quality, there's no doubt in my mind that this might be one of my favorite comics of all time based on just the art alone. But it's not just the art, it's the story too. Both the human characters and the Autobots feel so real, with different perspectives and goals and traumas that make me feel for each one. And the villains are amazing too. When Shockwave first shows up in A Call to Cybertron, the first thought that went into my head was, oh, it's the robot with the giant rack from that one YouTube video that keeps getting recommended to me but I never watch. Neat. But then he gets to Earth, and oh my god, he just starts committing atrocity after atrocity, to a point where every scene with him fills me with such intense dread. I went from not taking him seriously at all to being downright terrified at the thought of a being like him ever existing in real life. It was so good. Now, of course, since Transformers is an existing franchise, even if this comic is a new continuity, there are still some references there and I don't get them. But this never detracted from the experience, which I'm super grateful for. It definitely feels like this comic was made with new fans of the franchise in mind, and it definitely did its job. After reading Volume 1, I checked out the new Transformers 1 movie, and it was amazing. I also read Transformers Infiltration, and I've started watching Transformers Animated as well. I've even started getting into G.I. Joe, but just the comics connected to the Energon Universe so far. I'm not into military-based stuff enough to really dive deep into G.I. Joe lore, at least not yet. Overall, I absolutely love the new Transformers comic, and have definitely been converted into a Transformers fan. And as a side note, does anyone else feel like comics as a whole have entered a fabulous sort of renaissance for starting points when it comes to established franchises? Absolute DC and All In, Ultimate Marvel, the Energon Universe. I even checked out Power Rangers Prime after not watching Power Rangers since I was a kid, and the TMNT comics just started a new story arc starting at issue 1. It just feels really good to be a comic fan right now. Anyway, that's been it for me, Z. Hope you liked the video. Please comment your thoughts, I'd love to hear them. Time for me to transform, roll out, and say goodbye. By the way, does anyone else find it hard to tell the difference between Alita 1 and RC sometimes? Just me? Okay.